Welcome, 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 everyone. This is FAQ Friday with Andrew Beach, Executive Career Coach. I am a teacher of self education. I help professionals like you communicate their value to find great opportunities, promotions, new jobs, even if you're leaving and graduating college or if you're looking for a promotion, whether you're working or not. I'm here to help guide you through a process called branded networking. That's where I shine. That's where I provide value. Today on FAQ Friday, there's a number of themes that I am going to cover. Those are over on this side of the page. If you want to, go ahead and leave your comments in the chat. I'll be happy to answer. I'll just say welcome, everyone, in the chat. Let me know where you're joining from. I'm in Portland, Oregon today, my hometown. Well, I call it my hometown. It's not where I was born, but this is where I live. There's a number of themes that have come up this week as relates to career search, networking, and branding. And the first one that comes to mind is something that happened actually quite a few times this week related to LinkedIn. LinkedIn, as you know, allows you to put up a profile photograph, a headshot, a professional representation of you. Now, we know there's a lot of research around this that people make a connection visually with another person. Having a profile photograph makes a lot of sense. We encourage all of our clients, anybody, to get, if you're putting together a profile, get a professional headshot. We would avoid things like selfies, right? Or grabbing a Snapchat filtered photograph, something where the skin's all smooth and you look like you're 12 years old. Or you have a unicorn horn on your head. LinkedIn is a professional network. You don't want to do that kind of thing on LinkedIn. If you're going to share this stream out, please do so on all your social channels. I'm sharing this live right now on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube. If you want to share it on your favorite network, please, by all means. I'm looking to expand, get the message out that I'm here every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, to answer all your career questions. Make sure you use the hashtag redquorama. So I'm answering questions on Reddit, Quora, and you can ask me anything here on this session. So I made up my own hashtag. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's a way that I can actually find all of the conversations online if I use a unique hashtag like that. So please use that one. Or FAQ Friday. That's one that's used across a lot of different platforms, so that's a little bit harder to find, but please use the redquorama hashtag that you see on the screen. That would be very helpful for me to find all the questions related to career search that you might have. Okay, so back to LinkedIn. We're talking headshots, profile photographs. These are really important. Okay, interview ready, something that's recent, not a glamour shot or a selfie. Forward facing with a smile. Squinching is something I didn't hear about until recently, probably in the last couple of years. That's where you smile so much that you squint. It's called a squinch. So it's like you flinch and when the camera goes off. Anyway, don't do that. Give yourself a couple, 3, 4, 5 different photographs. You can use a mobile device. That's perfectly acceptable. Outdoors typically will have more natural light as long as you don't have a distracting background. Go ahead and take a great photograph outside with some filtered light so that you're not squinting too much and smiling, forward facing, etc. Interview ready, meaning right now I'm wearing a hoodie. Hey, it's the day after Independence Day. It's a holiday week. This is my casual Friday, if you will. In fact, I didn't even, I probably should have shaved for this event, but don't hold it against me. The idea here is that we want to make it better. We're always looking to make it better. Take the photo you have. If you're doing it with a mobile device, if it's a selfie, I'm not saying that's bad. We can always make it better. Whatever you do, always try to take it to the next level. So if it's a selfie shot, have somebody else hold the camera so that you're not, you have one shoulder up like this. I would encourage you not to use those photos where it looks like you have your arm around somebody and your face is cut off like right to the side, and it just looks funny. So just do a professional photograph if you can swing it. They're not really that expensive, under $100 for sure. I recognize if you're on a search and you don't have a lot of income, then just have a friend take a picture for you. Everybody nowadays seems to have a friend that really knows how to take photographs. Go find that person. Great networking opportunity. Okay. So the reason I bring up the profile photograph isn't to talk about the photograph itself, it's visibility of that photograph on LinkedIn. Believe it or not, people don't realize this, that there is separate settings for the profile photograph so that it's either set to first degree connections, anybody on LinkedIn, or what is it? Public. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'll go into let me go ahead and share the screen. Let me get to the right screen. Here it is. Okay. So you can see, here's my screen. Let me get me off of the screen. Let me undo this. Logitech. There we go. Okay. So here's my screen. Here's my profile. And you'll go under, actually, I'll back up here. If you go back to LinkedIn, there's a little thing under the side and it says view profile. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll view my profile. And then up in the right-hand side, you will see this thing called Edit Public Profile URL, okay? See and edit how you look to people who are not signed in, find how you're searched through Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc., okay? So when I click on that, it brings me to my profile settings. Now, these profile settings are really important because this is how people see you on the platform. Now, I don't see any downside at all over here on the right-hand side to making your public profile visible. Okay, some people have that turned off if they're, making wholesale changes to your profile. I don't think that's a really good idea, but some people do that, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong answer. I would encourage you, just always leave that on. Maybe you change these settings here. So if there's basic required features, that is, hey, name, phone number, connections, etc. So this is all information that's required once you put your profile public. But then you'll see here, there's actually a completely separate set of privacy settings for the profile photo. So what I would encourage you to do is, some people have it set just to first degree connections only. Here's the challenge with that, okay, is that when you do that, you set it to first degree connections only. And let's say you're a candidate for a role at, let's say at Intel. Intel's here locally. So you're a candidate for a software development engineering role at Intel, and somebody wants to look at your profile, and there's no photograph. If I have it set to first degree connections only, that means everybody else outside my network is not going to see my headshot. They're not going to see my profile photograph. This is something that you need to check on your profile to make sure you have it set the right way. Okay. So then you could say, well, just show me my network up to 3 degrees away. All right. And so that might be an option for you, and that's perfectly fine. However, I would either use all LinkedIn members or the public. For me, I have it to the public, which means that photograph can actually be picked up by the search engines, which is good for me because many of the search engines are now looking at LinkedIn as a valid, trusted source of data information. So when they type in my name, I show up as a separate entry on the right-hand margin of the search engine. Okay. So I think that's valuable. I would actually mark mine public for everything. Now you can go down this section here and set it to whatever you like for groups or past experience, etc. That's fine. I don't see any downside. I just put show all. Okay. So, but for this section, the purpose of what we're talking about today, just make sure you go in and check your profile photo settings. Make sure that you have it open to at least all LinkedIn members or the public, one or the other. If you have any questions at all, please put those in the chat and I'll answer them as they come in. Okay, so that brings us back to the slide deck here. Let me get to the slide deck. Sorry about that. So the next thing that, so change those profile settings on LinkedIn. It's really simple to do. Take you like 2 seconds to figure that out. Okay. Antics with Avery. You're going to like this. She's actually, and for those who don't know, Avery is my 10-month-old Jack Russell mix terrier. She's new to the family. She's settling in pretty well. We thought she was going to freak out because our last dog, who we actually put down last year, sad story. Well, I won't go into that. might get choked up. But she could not handle the fireworks. But Avery, my gosh, she was sleeping on the couch and we were watching a movie and we had all the windows open, fireworks going off, no problems. So I don't know what it is, but that she's really kind of numb to the fireworks. But the other thing she's really good at is keeping squirrels out of the yard. And I didn't realize this, but I guess Jack Russells were bred to hunt foxes, so they like to burrow. She's dug up the yard in certain places, and that's fine. We just make sure she does it in the places we want, not the ones we don't. But I remember last year we had a lot of squirrels getting into our garden, into our vegetables, and it just created an issue for us to actually grow any food that we can actually eat. So one of the benefits of having a Jack Russell is she will chase out any varmints that come into your yard. So that's antics with Avery. She's chewed up some things around the house. That's how we started this segment on the FAQ Friday. But it's good to have a buddy around the office. I don't think she's not in here right now, but having a buddy around the office, someone to hang out with you. When you're in a job search, it's great to have a buddy. So maybe your buddy is your pet, and you take your pet for a walk, or you have conversations with your pet. It's better than having conversations on your own. Okay. I don't know why that's down there. Anyhow, so anyway, the slide deck, I don't know if you know this, but I'm using Canva for that. So it's nice. It works out really well. Canva is a wonderful resource. So, I highly recommend it. It's free. It helps you with your LinkedIn background photographs. So if you know behind your photograph, your profile photo, there's a background there. And there's specific dimensions that you can make a background photo. If you look at my profile, you'll see that. Podcast. Actually, Scott and I recorded another series of podcasts this last weekend prior, and we now have a lot of podcast material to go on. But funny enough, the podcast that we produced this week, episode 51, was a Q&A episode. It was actually listeners that had sent us or provided us or questions that we had found that were really kind of poignant and timely. One of those was, is my mom right? And I thought that was funny. So there was some advice there. Somebody was struggling with a situation and they said, hey, is my mom right? And the answer to that one is yes, your mom is always right. It's kind of like the customer thing, right? The customer is always right. And anyways, so we answered that question and how to do networking on the job, which can be kind of an interesting tightrope to walk. And then we also actually answered some questions about applying for internal positions and what that looks like. And then me versus the recruiter. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link down in the show notes for jobseekersradio.com/051. That'll be the episode when it comes out. I'll be editing that this weekend. So go ahead and check that out. Jobseekersradio.com/listen or /051 when that particular episode comes out. Okay. Now, one of the things that happened, I was actually with a group this week. There was a group of folks that I was meeting with. It was a networking situation, and everybody was sharing their branding message. And, this is a group that I'm a part of, and I provide value there. And as a community service, I give people feedback on their networking skills, their branding statements, etc. Well, this one individual had come to the group and they said, hey, I'm in marketing. I said, okay, that's great. So how many people in Portland are in marketing? This is in Portland, Oregon, or even in your domain, in your geography. How many people do you guess that there is that are in marketing? And here's a marketing person that's trying to figure out their own brand. It's kind of interesting and ironic that a marketing person would have a difficult time with their own branding. So I was giving that person some feedback that the more specific you can be on the type of opportunities you're looking for or the things you're great at, the easier it is for me as an audience to help you find that. And the discussion got really interesting. And she said, I don't want you as a referring member of my network to limit my opportunities. And I said, I totally agree with that. That only works in the cup half empty scenario, meaning I don't want something. So if I'm known for something and it kind of sounds like what you're interested in, I'd refer it to you. But when I hear marketing, I probably know myself personally in Portland, 300 people that are in marketing. I don't know them personally, but not tight, but I know a lot of people. And if somebody came to me and say, hey, I want to know somebody who knows a lot about marketing, you may not be the first person that I refer people to. And that's one of the challenges. That's a vulnerability in your networking process. If you present yourself as someone generic, like a marketing manager or a financial analyst or some other title, a project manager, you have to ask yourself, okay, how many of those people in my marketplace exist today? If I was to just type in that keyword string into LinkedIn, what would I find? And I think you'd find that everybody is pretty much stacked up the same. They're all calling themselves by their title rather than what value they bring to the table. What problem do they really solve for their organizations? What do they enjoy doing? There's nothing worse than somebody trying to promote themselves based on something they don't like doing. I might be analytical, but I don't like doing financial analysis or accounting. I mean, the first time I took accounting at a university, I got a D. It's not something I would put at the top of my list of things that I would love to do is look at budgets and work financial statements and perform financial analysis. That just is not something that's up my wheelhouse. Even though I'm analytical by nature, I'm a problem solver. That's how I approach analysis. So just know that if I'm going out trying to promote myself as somebody who's a financial analyst, then it's not going to come across genuine, authentic. I have to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. And that certainly is going to be noticed in the interview, in my networking conversations, the way I approach the marketplace. So I would encourage you, if you're out in the marketplace, be known for something. And the ideas, the things I started thinking about when I was talking to her is, okay, what do you do that's unique, different, or special? That's one thing. Okay. And I ask everybody that comes to our networking group, who are you and why are you here? Who are you and why are you here? Those are really big questions to answer for sure. And until you have those two questions figured out, job search and branded networking is going to be a little bit difficult for you. You might get into these networking situations where I don't know what I got out of that meeting. I don't even feel like I did anything right. And yet, if you had a really good branding statement, you just planted a seed. It just hasn't harvested yet. It hasn't germinated yet. It hasn't been watered yet enough to actually bear fruit. Those tiny little interactions, those minute details, those simple things that you sometimes don't think about will come to anything, actually do, just not in the time that you think they will. So I really encourage this person, move more from general to something specific, okay? And often what she was really asking us to do is if you see any job postings, send those to me. And I thought, okay, here I am. I have a circle of influence. I can help you connect with hiring managers that have a need before it's posted. Wouldn't you want to influence those people? I was thinking that in my head. And we all know that the return on investment for applications is really low. That's well-documented evidence. And, I just found it very interesting that, the idea with networking is to make it easy on your audience. Make it easy for your audience to actually help you get to where you want to go. Do you really need help or to be notified of an online job posting? I don't think so. I think most of that data is available through any one of the aggregators online. You don't need me to share with you any postings, okay? What you might need me for is connection with people in positions of power with budgets that hire people in marketing. That would be useful. And the challenge is when I know 200, 300, 400 people in marketing, which one do I send you to? I'm not going to send you to all 300. I'm going to send you to the one where I think you add the most value. So for instance, if you say to me, I really enjoy doing product marketing of athletic footwear to millennials. Great. I'm in Portland. Nike's right down the street. Would you like to work at Nike? Sure, I'd love to work at Nike. Great. Can I introduce you to somebody there? Well, I didn't see any open positions. That's interesting. Okay. So here I am encouraging you to connect with a person that I know, and I'm willing to do that, but you don't want to go there because there's no open opportunities. That's the message I hear when someone says that. So just be cautious of how you're approaching things. Level up your networking skills by being conscious that people are trying to help you. They just need to know a way how to help you. Always ask for connections, advice, information. And I love Scott's advice, Scott Picard, who's the gentleman that I do the podcast with. Always be working on a project. And that doesn't have to be something sophisticated. It's just a project. I'm writing a white paper. I'm doing research on the effects of governmental intrusion into Chinese, sourcing of mechanical structures, whatever that looks like. Do something that sounds like a project that validates your search for what you're looking for, because you're looking for information and advice and connection to other people. Okay. Free resource. I wanted to thank you because I do have a free resource. I thought it would be great if I actually shared with you the original, and I might have done this on a prior FAQ Friday. But the idea is I'm going to share with you a link to my personal branding course. It's free. I have it over on Teachable. It's I actually thought it would be interesting and kind of funny because I've since upgraded that course, but that's the original one, the first one I ever did, but it's on how to develop a branding statement. I might need to go and update the handout for that just so it matches more closely with the actual course. I had some feedback on that. So for what it's worth, go ahead and look down in the show notes. There should be a link to my Teachable page, and it's free. You can just take a look at that and then give me some feedback. If you have any questions, concerns, you know how to get a hold of me. Let's see if there's any questions here in the chat that I can answer. Okay. Being positive. Yes. So the idea here, somebody's asking is, how do you make your branding message positive? Well, you want to focus on what you're seeking. And what does that mean? That means it takes time, energy, and effort for you to write down who you are. What do you want to do next? What does that look like? Who are the people you want to impact? What companies are you most interested in? Whether or not they have a job for you, whether or not they're in alignment with your values. You need to document your values, but the idea behind creating a positive branding message is to be known for something, to have a reputation that's specific so that when somebody needs that, they think of you. It's creating an association that way. So thanks for that question. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I hope you have a great weekend and had a happy Independence Day. If you feel like you got some value, share this with somebody you know that you think might also benefit. All right, folks, thanks. Take care. Have a good weekend.